Hi, welcome to Professor Kev Show. You can see again my friend Shruthika with us. We're going to talk a little bit about our research in today's episode. Good evening, my friend. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Hello everyone. My name is Shruthika Pallapothu. I'm a current senior from Troy High School, Michigan, and today I'm going to talk to you about my research. Last year in October, I started doing research and I am very passionate about the medical field. So I wanted to do something related to medical biology science. And while I was doing a lot of research on what I could possibly come up with, I came across that cardiovascular disease is the number one leading cause of death. So what I was surprised was even though it's the number one leading cause of death, there is not much research around it. Like, why aren't there a lot of treatments for it? Why aren't there many cures? Or why aren't there just research about what it is, right? So cardiovascular disease is the number one leading cause of death. And what it's caused by is atherosclerosis, which is the buildup of plaque in the arteries. So the buildup of plaque stops and inhibits oxygen, blood flow, and nutrient supply to the heart, eventually leading to a cardiac arrest, also known as a heart attack. So the current treatment plans for cardiovascular disease or coronary artery disease is stents, bypass, or an angioplasty. The problem with all of these are that they're highly invasive, right? It's basically a surgeon opening up your cardiovascular system, the heart, and then doing procedures on it, which is highly risky and invasive, and sometimes leads to really bad outcomes. So what I've done is I've tried looking for ways to try to fix that problem, solve that problem, and how we could overcome that issue. And what during my research, I came across nanotechnology. Nanotechnology is a new emerging field where basically it uses small, tiny microscopic robots. That is nanotechnology. So current uses of nanotechnology include using it for cancer treatment. For example, those little tiny robots can deliver drugs to specific cancer cells and kill off the cancer. It's like an alternative to chemotherapy or radiation. So I decided, why not can we use nanotechnology within cardiovascular and cardiovascular care? So what I've created is the first autonomous nanobot for cardiac surgery and plaque removal. So what this nanobot does, it is injected into your arms. It autonomously navigates through your bloodstream into your arteries and identifies plaque and classifies it. So it classifies it by if it's soft, it uses chemicals to break the plaque down. If it's medium or mixed, it uses ultrasound, which is thick vibrations to break it down. And if it's hard, it results in scraping methods to break it down. So that is how the nanobot works. And this saves a lot of time for the surgeon and a lot of pressure for the surgeon as well. This nanobot is with like Bluetooth low energy technology. It's connected to an external monitor where the doctor can see and the surgeons can see where the nanobot is, where it's going, because all the patient data, including the MRI and CT scans, are inputted onto the system. So they're able to see where the nanobot is traveling, where it's going, what it's seeing, and every other thing. And if in case something goes wrong, there's also something called the magnetic override system, which I've developed, where the surgeon can step in and they can override the system and then manually remove it. So that's how the nanobot itself works. So how I did it is I started off by, if you want to train any robot, any AI system, right, you need to input data, right? So just like how ChatGPT works, a lot of people inputted a lot of data, so it knows where to collect that information and inputs or like outputs that information to you, right? So using Visual Studio Code and Python, what I've done is created an AI system where it's trained using a CNN, a convolution neural network. So on that network, I basically inputted 20,000 images of MRI and CT scans. Then I manually went through and um, segmented each image to fit into the Python code. And then I also labeled each image to show whether it's soft, mixed, or hard plaque. So the nanobot or like the AI knows, okay, what type of plaque it is, what am I supposed to be looking for? It can learn from those 20,000 images and start making observations on how to segment that plaque, right? But this A robot is something that's going to be inserted into your body if you have like a cardiac disease or something, right? So it has to be really safe for that to happen. So not just is it trained by images, but what I've done is trained it by simulations as well. So I've created two simulations, one on Unity and the second one on Mujoko. So the one on Unity is the visual aspect. The nanobot needs to know where it's going, how to get there, right? So it uses its camera sensors to see where it's going, right? And it also follows the track in its mind when we inputted the specific patient's data into it, right? So Unity, with the help of virtual bloodstream on Unity, we're able to train it using the visual aspect. And then the second simulation on Mujoko is the physical aspect. Not only does the nanobot need to know where it's going, but it needs to know how to get there, right? Everybody is different. Some people could have high blood pressure. Some people could have a blood clot right in its way, right? So the nanobot needs to know how to navigate through all those like physical aspects. So using those two simulations, we have the visual aspect, the physical aspect, and we also have the original, which is the patient data, right? So using those three integration systems, I've integrated them all into one to create a nanobot where it can autonomously move through the bloodstream and break down that plaque. Another thing is if in case something goes wrong, which is highly unlikely because I used new patient data and tested it, and it's resulted in a 90 plus accuracy. So, but we still need to have a backup in case something goes wrong. So if something does go wrong, the surgeon has an option to magnetically override the system and then pull out the nanobot from seeing where it is. So that is how the nanobot works, and then that is also how I trained it and coded it.
So 20,000 images manually?
Yes.
How long did that take?
And that itself took a month.
That's all?
Yeah.
I mean, 20,000, man, I was like, wow, that's amazing and stuff. So talk to me about when you test this and you see that it works. What
Mhm.
was going through your head? I mean, just hearing your story, I was like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. This is so amazing. It had to be like a really cool day.
Mhm. Yes. Well, the days following up to it weren't that great, right? Because this required so much testing, a lot of results, and a lot of rounds of iteration. So basically, this one AI system works on ML and RL. ML is machine learning, and RL is reinforcement learning. So think about machine learning is it's very prevalent in today's world, so it's really easy to work with it. But RL, which is reinforcement learning, it's on the spot learning. So this nanobot needs to make on-the-spot decisions, right? So it was really hard to make sure all the simulations were able to show all the scenarios that could possibly happen. So that was like the biggest concern. After I got through that and after I trained it for RL, the next biggest problem was let's say it is traveling through an artery or a blood vessel, right, to get to the arteries and the plaque there was always chances of hitting something or hitting the sides and then breaking that blood vein or something and causing a rupture to the blood cells, right? That was always a concern and a problem. So for that, I had to come up with ways for integration and I had to make sure that it had dimensions and made sure like if it was within like that 20% distance of a border, it would start moving to the other side. So trying to find ways and making sure thinking of all the problems that could happen in all the scenarios was, I think, the hardest part. And then when I finally got to the day where I inputted completely new patient data and then saw the results of over 90%, whether it's plaque removal, getting there within 20 to 30 seconds, and coming back to the spot that it started from, which is the arm, navigating all through the body, right? I think when it finally worked and when I was finally able to get that percentage to hit 90 plus, I think I was like, okay, finally we have something that might truly make a difference.
Hopefully, you're a little more excited than that.
Yes.
I mean, it's just amazing. All right, so let's talk about showing this to medical professionals. What's been their feedback?
Mhm. So what I started off with is right after I completed doing this whole entire process, I applied for a patent. And I applied for this patent last year and I received it a few months ago.
Nice, congratulations.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much. So it did take a year and 2 months for that patent to arrive. When it did, um, I wanted to take it to the next step. Like, how do I actually get this into the medical world, right? So I reached out to like other professors and labs, especially at Wayne State University and other universities, who really liked my project and decided to work with me along with it. So they allocated some researchers and some of their time from their lab to work on my project, such as the biomedical engineering departments at Wayne State. Were able to take this project and really work on it and work on the betterment of it and test the AI itself. So we started off by testing the AI, the systems that I created itself, and we were still reaching that 90 plus accuracy. So then we are starting to build the nanobot to a point where it's really small and microscopic because the current version is like really big with all the sensors, and that's not really nanotechnology, right? So it needs like we're trying to find ways to condense it. And then from this, what we're planning on doing is running like clinical trials and going into that like FDA approval process.
What's the next step after that? What's the big picture?
The big picture would be, working towards getting it FDA approved. And then if it's FDA approved, then it's obviously in the medical world and can be used as a treatment. So that is our next step, but that is also something that will take many, many years and many, many trials.
Which, like I said, it's amazing though. How does that work? Do you partner with an existing lab? Do you partner with an existing, medical company that has experience in that? How's that process work?
Yeah, so I'm currently partnering with an existing lab who works within like those nanoparticles field. So this is also a new project to them and a new field to them, but they
Nice.
have some kind of like experience with the AI and training robots within the medical field. So yeah, that's how I'm working right now.
All right, what happens when someone comes looking for you with the big check to buy the idea? Do you sell it?
Uh, I haven't really
I
thought
think
about
the answer
that.
is no. I honestly think the answer is no.
Yes. I wouldn't sell it for sure.
It's your child. You
Mhm.
made all this. I just playing with you. I don't see you, saying I'm going to take the big check and just walk away. Unless the only reason I see that happening is you have a better idea.
Mhm.
That you've come up with something else going, what? I've accomplished that. I think, I don't know you, obviously. We've known each other for 45 minutes now. I could see you coming up with another like idea. I think you like let's start at the beginning and do it all again. I just
Mhm.
have a feeling that that's going to be your life, that you're going to have multiple ideas and you're going to
And
just,
you're actually right. I'm working on another project as well.
and again, I've only known you for 45 minutes, but that's my clear read on you that you like
Mhm.
the excitement of building and stuff. So, all right. So, what's the best way for people to reach out to you if they want to learn more about this?
The best way for people to reach out to me is through LinkedIn or through email, which is
Awesome.
also on my LinkedIn.
Good. I appreciate you taking a few minutes to share your research with us. As always, thanks for being my friend.
Thank you so much. Thank you.